welcome back to this series, Uncover the Purpose of Your Path. Today, I want to talk about why you can't find your one purpose in life. Many people feel like they're struggling to find their purpose in life, and that is because they think it looks like one specific thing, one specific life or career path, when really, for some of us, it's not that simple. Some people are multi-passionate, which means our purpose is rooted in a lot of different passions, a lot of different callings or types of expression. Our core purpose, our core calling, who we're here to be in this life, stays relatively the same, but our expression of it shifts and changes for a variety of reasons. And one of those reasons is because we're multi-passionate and we have a different cycle and flow than most people. This does not mean that something is wrong with us. It just means that we are wired differently. If you resonate with this idea that it's really hard for you to pin down your one purpose, your one path, your one career, then let's look at a few factors that can help you understand your own unique flavor of being multi-passionate. First, you have to look at what your passions, callings, and types of expression are for your purpose. What are you most drawn to? What are you most passionate about, even if it's varying and wildly different depending on the different types of things that show up for you? It's also about noticing if your passions, interests, and types of expressions stay the same or if they shift, if they're cyclical, if they depend on what's going on in the world, what's going on in your life. There are different ways that our passions, our multi-passionate individuality can show up. And that can sometimes look like, for example, for me, my callings, my interests, my passions, the ways that I like to express my purpose stay relatively the same. They are varied for sure, and they show up in different ways to different degrees at different times. But over the course of my life, they have stayed relatively the same. Life has certainly shaped me and has added a depth and a richness to my purpose work and my callings and how I express it in this lifetime. That's normal, that's to be expected, but the core of what I love to do has stayed relatively the same for as long as I can remember. Other people have different passions throughout their life. They're multi-passionate and maybe even a handful at the same time, but they are more about mastery. So once they master something, once they feel like they've brought a project or idea to completion, they move on to the next thing. Neither one is better or worse, right or wrong. I have multiple passions that come up all at once and stay relatively the same. You may have multiple passions that come up at similar times, but once you've completed them or you feel like you've mastered them, you are ready and craving the next thing. It's just about noticing which one you are and honoring the truth of how your passions and callings and types of expressions choose to show up for you in this lifetime. The second thing that we want to do is look at your natural rhythm or cycle. We are humans, and women especially tend to have a more cyclical nature, but we all cycle, whether that's with the seasons or based on our own internal rhythm and inner compass and personality type. So it's about understanding what your rhythm and cycle is. For me, again, I have lots of passions that come up all at once. They don't tend to change. And it's important for me that I touch on them all fairly regularly. I want to be writing. I want to be making beautiful things. I want to be speaking and creating. I want to be playing outside and documenting my life. I want to be doing all of these things fairly frequently. There's very little that goes outside of my normal ebb and flow on a daily and weekly basis. Other people tend to have different cycles. So that could look like over the course of a week or a month, I cycle through different passions, callings, and interests. It can be seasonal. You can actually go with the seasons. And for some people, it's on much longer stretches. So you might have a 3-year period where you're very into one particular passion or calling or expression. And once that is completed, then you move on to something else for another 3 years. But the question is, do you cycle back through all of your different passions, callings, and interests? Or are you the mastery type? If you're the mastery type, you might have seasons. You might have a general time frame for how long you like to spend mastering or working on something before you move forward. If you have passions that you revisit, it's about noticing, do I have every week, I want to focus on something different. Every day, I like to focus on something different. I like to do it like a school day where I spend a few hours here and a handful there, and I do all of the things all at once throughout the day. Or do I have longer cycles? Do I spend 3 years doing creative things and then take 2 years to play or do something more technical or learn a new skill? And eventually I cycle back to the creativity. As with the first question, there is no right answer. The way that I cycle is right and natural for me. And it's about understanding your unique rhythm and cycle and what works best for you. We have hammered home in our society the idea that you should be able to find and pick one path in life and see that through. But the reality is, multi-passionate people tend to be more cyclical. We have a lot of things we're passionate about, and the way that we cycle individually varies from person to person. And it's about understanding your natural rhythm so that you are able to express your purpose work to contribute to the world in the way that you're meant to, in the right timing and flow that is based on your wiring and what makes sense for you. When it comes to this topic, I am a very big fan of Barbara Scher's book, Refuse to Choose. She calls multi-passionate individuals scanners, and she can help you further identify what type of multi-passionate individual are you and what types of cycles are most common for us and how to identify your own. The last thing that we need to look at as multi-passionate individuals is what is hindering our ability to flow and be fluid in the way that is right and natural for us. This often comes down to subconscious programming, limiting beliefs, fears, traumas, things that we have picked up throughout our life that has said something is wrong with us or it's not safe to be who we are. We have to conform to what's normal, what's typical, what's standard. And if we stray from that, it means something is bad and wrong in us. That is not true. It's how we are wired. Maybe a majority of people tend to have one lane, one path, and that works for them, but that isn't what works for us. And just because we're not the majority doesn't mean there's something wrong with us or that we need to conform and change. So you have to start looking at, where have people made you wrong for how you are wired throughout your life? What are the stories that you tell yourself, and who are the people that embedded those stories in the first place? This is often family. It's often people that we love, family, friends. It comes from the education system, any place where we were made wrong for being wired differently and having a different rhythm or flow or having multiple interests. It creates a story in our head, and we repeat that story to ourselves throughout our life, reinforcing this idea that something is wrong with us when really we're just wired different. Some examples of how I have seen this is people who get made fun of for having wild hair ideas and going off in some crazy new direction every time they enter a different cycle or pick up a different passion. This can also look like feeling like a failure because you're somebody that likes to flip businesses. You're a serial entrepreneur and you start different projects or endeavors and you see them through to a certain point before either shutting them down, moving on to the next thing, or maybe selling them to someone else. Whatever your ending looks like, you believe that you are wrong because you can't commit to one thing and see it through at the level that most other people would choose to. Instead, you see it through at the tempo and pacing and timing that's right for you, but you believe something's wrong with that. This can also look like buying into the lie that we have to choose one path. A lot of us do this. A lot of us choose one career path and we try to stick to it and ignore the fact that we are bored, we are unhappy, we're not feeling totally fulfilled, and again, begin to believe that something is wrong with us because we can't just pick the one thing and stay with it for as long as most people do. Another resource for you is Emily Wapnick. She has a whole site called puttylike.com, and she talks a lot about multi-potentialites, which is essentially multi-passionate individuals. We can't choose one path. It's not how we are wired. Some of us, like me, are able to take our multiple passions and interests and callings and expressions and combine them under one umbrella, but there are still outliers. There are still things that don't fit into my business and into my path. Yet we are able to create a seemingly one-track path that we're on when really we've just been able to find a way to infuse a lot of our passions together into one big thing while also tending to other passions that are outliers. If that is not you, if you are multi-passionate and there is not a way that you have seen or feel happy with to combine all of your passions into one thing, you don't have to. It's just about understanding what your different passions, callings, and expressions are and the cycle in which you like to touch on them and work with them and move through them. What is that for you? It doesn't have to look like me, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else. Nothing is wrong with you. You are just multi-passionate and you have never been given a chance or opportunity to figure out what does that mean for you and what does it look like for you to really be in flow with your own cycles, passions, and interests. You have to take the time to really unpack what that means for you and also process out and do the deeper healing work around those beliefs. Something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. This is your gift. This is part of your purpose work in the world to show up and be you you and contribute in the way that only you can. And for you, that might look like you create and contribute and give back and live your purpose in very specific ways for certain seasons or for certain cycles, or you move through one thing and then you move on to the next. That is how you are wired. That is perfect. That is who you're here to be. And it's essential to your ability to contribute to the world in the way that only you can. Stop making it wrong. Nothing is wrong with you. I know the world has been reinforcing that, but the sooner you embrace that you are simply wired differently, that you are simply multi-passionate and you have your own rhythm and cycle, the happier you'll be, the more fulfilled you'll feel, and the more able you'll be to live your purpose and contribute to the world. So explore that today. What would it look like for you to really honor your passions, callings, purpose, and forms of expression, whatever that looks like for you? What is just for you? What is meant to be a part of your work path? What feels right to you? There is no right or wrong answer. And what is your natural rhythm and cycle? Start to look back without judgment or making yourself wrong and just notice, do I like to do everything at once? Do I like to do things in certain smaller cycles throughout the week or month? Or do I tend to focus very heavily on something for about a year to 3 years or 5 years before shifting into something else? And if I shift into something else, do I revisit the old thing or do I just keep moving on to the next thing? Do it with all the love and grace in the world, because this is who you are. This is how you are wired. You are supposed to be who you are here to be. And if you are multi-passionate, that does not look like choosing one path and sticking to it. You have to honor your natural rhythms, which starts by understanding what they are. Another action step is to set boundaries with anyone who does not support who you truly are. Anyone who makes you feel bad and wrong, damaged, or broken does not need to be in your sphere, does not need to be a part of your inner circle or part of the conversations of figuring this out. Set boundaries, cut certain people out of your life and set really firm boundaries with others, which can look like, this is not a conversation I want to have unless you can be supportive. And support to me looks and feels like this. If they can't meet that, they don't get to be a part of this conversation. They don't get to be a part of your world, even in certain situations, if they are that negative and they make you feel that bad and wrong about yourself. Another great action step is to create community with more like-minded people. Find multi-passionate individuals. Read Barbara Scher's book. Join Emily's community of multi-potentialites. Come hang out in coaching and community with us, where we are doing our purpose work and we are exploring all the different ways that that can look like. Find your right people, people who get it, people who are already living multi-passionate lives that honor who they are and their natural rhythms, and that will support you tremendously. And celebrate your gifts. This is who you're here to be. This is a part of your contribution and your purpose. Embrace it, celebrate it. You are wired the way that you are wired because that is how you are meant to be wired. Stop fighting and resisting it. Stop making it wrong and really lean in and celebrate it. All right, friends, I will catch you in the next video soon.